Have you ever wondered why employers and recruiters call job applicants for interviews? Well, if you don't know, I'm here today to tell you why. Employers and recruiters mostly call job applicants for interviews to verify the information and details the applicants have provided on their CVs, resumes, and their cover letters. The employers and recruiters will want to find out the faces or people behind the application documents they have in front of them. The employers and recruiters will also want to find out the skills and experiences the applicants have provided on their various application documents, whether the applicants really fit in or can exhibit the various skills and uh, abilities they have provided on their various documents. The recruiter and employer will also want to find out whether the applicant have really worked with the companies and organizations he or she has provided on his CV or resume, and whether that applicant can exhibit those experiences when he or she is employed in that company. This and among others are the reason why employers call job applicants for interview sessions. There may be others, but these are the two main reasons why employers call job applicants for interviews. In today's session, I'll be sharing with you tips and etiquettes surrounding every job interview. One of them is preparedness. Before you go in for any interview, when you are called, always make sure that you are well prepared. Make sure that before you go in for the interview session, you have copies of your CV or resume, cover letter, certificates you use to apply for the vacancy, and any other requirement or document that will be relevant to the interview session. Another tip is punctuality. Before you go in for any interview session, always make sure that you arrive at the interview grounds on time. You and I know that when you have an appointment and you arrive there on time, you feel relaxed. And when the appointment meeting starts, you feel confidence in yourself speaking. There won't be much pressure on you. The same thing applies to when you are called in for an interview. Always make sure that you arrive at the interview grounds on time. Do not be late. When you are late in for an interview, there is some kind of pressure on you that you will begin to sweat and you won't be able to pass through the interview. You will see that as you are sitting in the interview chair, you will be sweating, which is very poor. Another tip number 3 is research. Before you go in for any interview, always make sure that you have much information, if not much, but a little bit of information about what the company does, the services they render, or the products they sell. Always make sure that you have an idea about what the company does before you get in for the interview session. When you do this and you are being asked about what the company does impromptu, you'll be able to respond well. And the interviewer or recruiter will be surprised about you knowing what the company does, their mission, vision, and objectives or goal in their company. Tip number 4 is body language. In the interview session, always make sure that you sit comfortably, sit upright, and pay much attention and make sure that you have an eye contact with the employer or recruiter in the interview session. Do not sit too comfortable, but sit uprightly and have an eye contact with the interviewer or recruiter who is asking you the interview questions. Another tip is active listening. In the interview session, always make sure that you listen very well to the questions being asked. Listen and listen attentively to the interview questions that are being asked or that are being asked by the interviewer or recruiter. When you listen attentively, you will get to answer the questions clearly. But when you don't listen, you will end up deviating. Another tip is clarity in communication. When the questions are being asked, always make sure that you answer them clearly and consciously. Always make sure that you speak clearly and avoid PG or jargon language in your speaking. Speak clearly and avoid jargon language or PG in your speech. Avoid making breakages or avoid speaking PG in your speech when you are in the interview session. Another tip is positive attitude. Positive attitude here means maintaining a good body language and body posture in the interview session. Make sure that you sit very well. Like I said earlier, make sure that you sit very confidently. Do not sit and cross your legs. That is not your restroom. Sit professionally. Sit gently. You can sit like this. You can also sit like this. And if you are a lady, you can put your handbag on your lap in the interview session whilst the questions are being asked. And make sure that you pay much attention to what the questions or to what to the you pay much attention to the questions that are being asked by the interviewer. Another tip is questions. Mostly, when the interview is over, interviewers mostly turn back to ask interviewees or applicants, that is the job applicants, whether they have questions for the interviewer or the company as a whole, the company in general. As a job applicant, when you are being asked in an interview session whether you have questions for the interviewer or for the company as a whole, make sure that you respond yes. Do not respond no. Respond yes. Even if you don't have a question, make sure that you ask the interviewer about the company norms, rules, and regulations surrounding the organization. You can also ask the interviewer or recruiter the salary for the position that has been advertised. That is, if the salary is not being stated in the job description or the interviewer hasn't made mention of the salary, make sure that you ask questions concerning salary. If you don't have any questions, make sure that you try and ask these two questions. If you ask these two questions, the interviewer or recruiter will get to know that you really care about the position that has been advertised and that you are really interested in the position. The last tip is follow up. When the interview is over, you have one more chance. When you go home, feel relaxed and send a follow-up letter or a follow-up message to the interviewer or the organization email, thanking them for the interview. Thank them for calling you in for the interview and reinstate your interest in the position that has been advertised. This is how you follow up for an interview. And the follow-up should be immediately after the interview. In this case, you can prepare your follow-up letter. You can prepare your follow-up letter down so that after the interview, in less than 3 hours, you send out your follow-up letter, restating your interest in the position that has been advertised and thanking the organization and the recruiter for calling you in for the interview. These are the various tips you need to know when attending any interview session. And these are general tips and etiquettes every interviewee or job applicant must know. When you are going in for the interview, make sure that you are well prepared. Your punctuality should be key. You speak clearly in the interview session and avoid jargons and PG in your language. Pay eye contact. Your body language should be top notch. Active listening. Listen attentively to what the questions. Listen to what the interviewer is asking you and pay much attention. Your body language, follow up, and also try to ask questions. Like I said earlier, even if you don't have questions, ask the interviewer salary issues and the company norms, rules, and regulations. These are the general tips and etiquettes that surround every job interview. In my next session, I'll be sharing with you questions and answers, that is, possible questions and answers being asked during various interview sessions. My name is Abdul Gafar, and you are welcome to AG Professional Services. You can subscribe to this channel for more tips on interview sessions, for more tips on interviews, CV writing, and any other job requirement documents. At AG Professional Services, we do it right. Subscribe for more tips. Thank you.